Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of New Culture. My fault. Blerd Lines Podcast. We got a special guest.
What is this, like episode 4, 5?
Yeah. This is episode 4 of what we have a Blerd Line Podcast, and we have such an amazing show for us today. We have a lot of things we want to run through. We also have an amazing special guest into the building. We have Sir Jordan, a.k.a. Sir Hamsalot. What's going on, Jordan? Good morning, man. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am stupendous, actually. I'm actually pretty good. Still a little waking up. It's a little earlier over here on the West Coast, but I'm good. I have my Mando cup and my coffee, so
that is by far. I want everyone to know that people get to see Ham's cups like when we stream or when he streams, but I'm lucky enough to be one of those people in his inner circle, and I get to see the cup as soon as he purchases
it. Exactly.
Yeah, my man Ham will send you a picture of a mug
and be like, "Step your mug game up."
I'm just saying, man.
real. So I just want to
getting muggly out here.
Muggly.
Hey, dad joke professionals in the building. What up? What up?
I don't know if they're ready for these, man.
Right.
Gonna have a hard time today.
Yeah, it's gonna get real tacky.
This show's gonna go from Blerd Lines Podcast to Captain's Lounge real quick. But I want everyone to thank everyone for tuning in today. We have an amazing show. We got reviews from Gran Turismo, Pokemon Excitement, Smash Night at Evo, and then we have the Batman, aka Glitter Batman, coming in with an amazing Metascore of 87 as of 3-1. And of course, we're going to do our first official first week take of Ring of Elden. So, before we get live, before we go in on all the things that makes us nerdy and lovely, hell, give the people who you are, man. Let them know who you is.
What up, y'all? I'm Ham. Everybody calls me. I'm HamuraiiBlack. That's 2 eyes, by the way, not one, because I got both of them on you. Just remember that. I'm just, I'm a streamer. I stream, so you guys can follow me on Twitch for sure if you guys want to. I play Apex. I'm about to get a PS5 next week finally. So I got a list of games on my list. But yeah,
welcome to the upper echelons.
Yeah, I know, right? Finally, but I'm good. Right. I'm a dad of 2. I'm a big nerd. I'm there's a reason why Greg and make fun of me on this, because I do know my comics. I love Marvel. I love DC. I'm getting into anime. I'm just a big nerd. I like to give my knowledge to the people. So if you hear, you might see me flex a little bit. A lot of my friends, they do come to me with questions and stuff. Hey, this new trailer dropped. Who's this? What does this mean? Hey, what's going on here? I don't know who Moon Knight is. I need information.
So check this. Ham. Let me allow to do you some justice. So because Ham's a homie, and I'm allowed to, here, if people don't know, I truly love to give my homies a good introduction and let them know to flex. Because my boys, my people, they don't flex as much as they need to let people know who they are. Ham is being quite modest when it comes to he knows his comic knowledge. It was me and Greg reached out to him to have him on this show today because we knew I knew for a fact if I didn't, I was going to get threatened with death if I did not bring him on this show. Because Ham, the man, not only knows his comic books, he knows issues, he knows he said this Spider-Man's from issue 17 from so-and-so on page 14 is when he did this, and this is why this scene matches this panel in this comic. And he has the plug to everything that's going on in the Marvel world. So Ham was like, in his internal, he was like, yeah, man, sure, I'll be on. But truthfully, he was saying, you didn't have a choice. If I wasn't here, I was going to kill you and apologize to Jazz for your ignorance.
I was just gonna kill him. I know where he lives.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you up. Like when you want to talk about, like, I have never in my life found anyone that found the fine print to a comic book until I met this guy over here. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, where did you find that? He's like, oh, bro, it's in the fine print. So I'm like,
he's gotta look at
what fine print? It's a comic book. It's like, oh yeah, bro, you gotta get the magnifying glass. Yeah, it's right there.
That's funny.
And
yeah, it's issue 3.532. Like on, this bro. Dude will identify comics like Kingdom Hearts fans will identify the unnecessarily long name of each game. Like it's not a plaything with this man. So we definitely had to get him in today for the Batman as we talk about how good that movie was.
Absolutely.
And then I guess, by the way, because I'm not loved as much as HamuraiiBlack, because he's our special guest today, but again, it is your second host, Greg from DadPad Gaming, doing Greg from DadPad Gaming things.
Absolutely.
So, are we ready to get the show going? Where do we want to start today? We want to jump straight into Batman.
I still got a pat on the back because people might have questions because we real around here. Yes, as people might know, Ham is also a host of what we have as New Culture. Ham is not new to the panels of discussion, baby. Ham knows about the early morning discussions with the coffee. Ham is also, because we was able to have our conversation, we was able to introduce y'all. Ham was, again, too lightly. Ham also is a competitive gamer in the world of Apexingtons.
Hey, man, I'm just,
and he's not, I'm not going to see. He's all right. You know what I'm saying? He ain't. You know what I'm saying? Ham be like, I'm okay. He's one of those people that know he's like me in baseball. I'm like, I'm all right. I know a little something, and I get on the mound and hit 93, like
yeah, exactly,
a little bit, or I hit a home run.
Okay. And then literally the other day, I hopped in a match. I'm about to clip it out, but yeah, I dropped 13 kills, 2,200 damage. I was like, I didn't. Yeah, they're like, what the hell? I'm like, calm down. I have times. I some things, I do talk a lot. I do like to boast a lot, but some things, like boy, Mamba, that Mamba mentality. You gotta let your game speak. All right, I ain't gonna say much to you.
And everyone
on that court, bro, you gonna feel it.
And everyone here, though I am new to the West Coast of the country, everyone here is now native or have that in their energy. You know what I'm saying? So. And I can't say that, Liv, but you're 100% right when he feels that light-skin energy coming from Hamiltons. We not only have light-skin energy for Ham, we got well-done eyebrows from Greg that are on fleek. And then you have...
We should have called this the pretty podcast. I'm just saying.
Unfortunately, I am the rugged, knucklehead, why is he here, dusty boy. So I'll be that. But yes.
Right.
Brown skint energy. But yeah, also Ham is part of the Buzzing with the Boys podcast or stream every Friday at 8 p.m. with no other than D. Rain, who will be on the show very soon when we talk Destiny. And of course, the one and only, the national treasure, Mark.
Oh, Money Mark. It's always good to have a pocket mark. We've said it for how long? It's been a year and a half since we've been saying it. Get yourself a pocket mark, man.
For real, get yourself.
Yeah, we all need a pocket mark.
So most definitely tune in.
We definitely need a pocket D-Rain as well. Just for the fact that when people get out of line, you definitely got to pull them out so he can just call them Bud. It's like, all right, Bud.
No. So we need a pocket.
He says, "But it's a rap."
Hold on. We need a pocket Mark. We need a ringtone D-Rain. He's like, Bud. But excuse me, Bud. Wait a minute, Bud. But yeah, man, we cannot wait to have those guys on the show so we can give them a formal introduction and a platform in which they can reach out and expand their audience here, not only on their shows but also here on Blerd Lines podcast. As we are all still close homies, even though that New Culture is a thing that is still close to our hearts, and New in You is still a thing that we love dearly. We will never forget the bonds and the people that we work with, and it has been an amazing journey so far, and the things we're still building together. So I appreciate you, Ham, everything you've done. Greg, I talk to you all the time, so I'm not praising you anymore because you're my brother, and I have every right to hate you because I can.
Put a cape on that angry that man.
I don't hate you though, Greg. Just know that.
Thank you.
Before we continue, Ham, you remember that the two sauces I had you try?
Yes.
So Ham critiqued the sauce I made for the wings. For the garlic honey sauce, Ham was like,
"Oh."
He walked away, said, "I'll be back." That's when I knew I had something. That he looked at me and he gave me that one look like, This man think he's slick.
I was like, I'll be back. Let me get in the lab real quick. I'll be back.
Right.
I'll be back.
Well, sometimes that's what you got to do,
Absolutely.
You got to let them know.
Absolutely, man. We had an amazing week as we go ahead and dive into this show. We had Gran Turismo. Unfortunately, I have not been able to dive into Gran Turismo, but we have the one and only, not DadPad. We have Rev Greg here with the rundown of the professional thing in here. He's going to be sponsored by Shell gas station here, coming up in the next race.
Can I say one thing before? I haven't played it yet. I know Greg has played it, so he'll be able to give a little bit more. But one of my homies that I'm going to play 2K with, he's been all about it. He's like, he told us in the group, he was like, hey, yo, this week, I ain't on 2K, GT7. I'm like, oh. I was like, okay, like, what's up? And he sent me like a 3-minute video he took. Mind you, it was on his phone of it, and it still looked beautiful. And I was just like, I don't play games like this, but I don't know, man. I think I might have to get this, dude. So go ahead. I was going to say that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So I've been playing now. Since Friday is when it dropped, and it was one of those games that I have to be honest. And by the way, I definitely want to go ahead and give a shout out to the homies over at Bag, and definitely shout out to Metro Esports. We are powered by Metro Esports, so thank you guys. But in particular, our friends over at Bag did provide the copy of Gran Turismo, and I was very reluctant just because my thoughts on Gran Turismo go back to when I was
a young lad.
Yeah. I can't even remember the age, but as a young lad, I tried the first one on the PS1.
Yeah.
I think it was part 3 on the PS2, and while I've low-key always been kind of big on cars, like I just never dug into them the way I should have. I would probably be like a NASCAR racer or something now. I could not get into them because like the licensing and you have to do all these weird tests, and it was very hard to control the cars. Like it was hard to get into, so I was reluctant at the asking price of $69.99 for the PS5 version. However, I'm surprised at this game, man. I want to say on Metacritic and OpenCritic, respectively, it's an 88. Is the score on both outlets there, and I think it's well deserved. The thing that I have to give this game most credit for is the fact that it is so welcoming, like in a way that I really did not imagine. And I was actually explaining to Mark over at the Gamepad earlier yesterday that what I have to give this game the most credit for is I started the game. You start the campaign. They're like, all right, here, hop into a couple races. They're like, all right, run those races in slower cars, so the cars are a little easier to control. And then they throw you another race that you don't necessarily have to do. It's an optional race with faster cars, and I'm like, this is rough. This is difficult. I don't want to play this game, but the next required mission, because there's like a mission-based system here. You go to like this cafe, you open up a menu, and they'll be like, hey, go unlock these cars, or go get this license, or blah, blah, blah. Like there's all types of different things you can do. I got to the mission where it told me to go and get the license. I'm like, oh no, I hate these things. So I did the GT University, or whatever the hell it's called, and the one thing that I can highlight is I did not hate it. It was one of those things that I found myself getting a bronze or a silver and actually redoing those same tests to try to get a gold. And what made it so addicting and like it hooked me in is because the PS5 load times are so snappy. If I failed that test, I was right back trying it again within like 2 seconds.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah,
so excited for that.
Like it was like one of those moments like where I really got to thinking about it. Like I have my PS4 Pro still, so maybe I'll like download GT7 there just to compare. But it's one of those things where it really highlighted to me like how insane it was, because it's like I would start the race, Oh, and like, you know, once you are doing your license, like you have to get there within a certain time to get bronze, gold, silver, you know, whatever.
Right.
And once you get a passing score, they put the ghost in there like most racing games do.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, while you're trying to retest for a higher score, if you see your ghost ahead of you, it's like, all right, well, maybe this one is pointless.
Yeah.
Start or options button, however you like to say it, restart, go again.
Yeah.
You're right back in. So it was like one of those things to where it was so quick and seamless. Before I knew it, like my wife was yelling at me because she's like, "We've got to go. We've got stuff to do." And I'm like, wait. I can hit this corner. I can hit this corner.
We gotta go,
like,
Reggie.
And she's like, "What was that, Perry?"
We gotta go, Reggie.
Yeah, but bro, and I'm like, babe, it takes 20 seconds. I can do this. I can do this. And she's like, you've hit it perfectly a couple times. And I'm like, but that's a silver. I need a gold. And the coolest thing about it is, once I went through the license, I obsessed over getting gold on all of them, though I got silver on like the final test because it was super difficult, but it was doable. Mm-hmm. I went back to that same race. Now, granted, that was a hard ranked one, you know, because they still have difficulty levels. Where before I could not finish the race, and then after derping around, I got last place. I was able to get back into that same race and place like 5th place in it, and hang with the pack. And it was like one of those things where I really appreciate how the game lays itself out, because what I did not share is at the beginning of the game, I pretty much had training wheels on. Like, I'm talking about, I had on the brake assist, I had on the steering assist, because this game is very difficult, and you laugh now, but wait until you try it. But like I said, I had on the steering assist, I had on the race lines, I had on the brake indicators, like everything. And by the time I got done with the tutorial, I ran maybe another race, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to try without this. I turned off everything except for the brake indicators. So I still have like the assistants trying to figure out when to brake, but everything is on me otherwise. Like no race lines. I'm using like the entire track to hit those corners. And like, I don't know if I know Perry saw, but I dropped some videos on Twitter yesterday of me racing looking like it was a flipping trailer. And I'm like, look at me. That's me. I'm good now.
That picture was so beautiful.
It's insane. Like it's crazy because I'm in a position right now where, and I guess this is kind of an informal announcement, but there will not be a full-on video review for Elden Ring. I'm just buried in too many games right now, and Ghostwire Tokyo is around the corner, and I'm still finishing up Horizon.
Ghostwire looks good.
That looks good.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that one too. So there's just too much going on, so I'm gonna do a informal review via BLP today. So we're going to do the Blerd Lines podcast 1 week with Elden Ring. Is going to be essentially our official review on that title. But I am at a place right now to where I want to play Elden Ring. I adore Elden Ring. I adore Horizon, but all I can think about is Gran Turismo, and I'm shocked that it's hit me as hard as it is, because all I see right now is race lines. I'm just walking through the house taking long corners just because I'm like, I'm driving through the house. So
okay. I'm gonna tell the truth. Because he's avoiding it. Ham, I don't know if Greg sent you this amazing clip of what's in the game, but there were bars that were dropped.
So that's technically, so the song is in the game.
Bars was
the
dropped.
video is not.
And you wouldn't guess who was dropping bars,
Wait,
Ham.
you said the song is in the game?
I'll give you $1 if you can guess what celebrity, what actor has bars.
Ham, I'll buy you crumble cookie.
Right, like off the top of my head randomly?
Yes.
Randomly. Because there's no way you're gonna guess it. I'll give you a clue. He's in the MCU.
He is. He is in the MCU.
All right. Is he white or black?
Black.
Falcon? Well, I already knew Falcon because we're not Anthony Mackie, right?
Is that your guess?
Is that your guess?
Wait, no, I only get one guess?
You only get one guess. You only get one guess. These are crumble cookies on the line.
All right, hold on.
And
now,
tacos.
Let me go through my head real quick. Okay, so we got Anthony Mackie, we got Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan. We got M'Baku, who it possibly could be. That's another sleeper. Who else do
If I give you another hint, there will be no taco.
Wait, that doesn't count. Wait, T.I.'s an MCU character. That doesn't count, right?
I'm not telling you.
I mean, he could.
He could be.
But would it be a surprise that T.I. has bars?
No, okay, you said so it would be a surprise.
This if you want this.
No more hints. No more hints.
Okay.
Because he wants the cookies.
No, I'm adding tacos if he gets this. But if there's a hint, there's only cookies.
Can I get? All right, what phase is he in? Can I get that?
No. That's too easy. That's too easy. That's because it's you. Because it's you.
Because I'll immediately be like, all right, man, I know who it is.
I mean, I'm gonna be G though. Like honestly, I think he is in every phase except for phase 1. And I'm just gonna throw that out there.
And I'll say this: he's a heartthrob, easily heartthrob.
Now you doing too much, Perry. But
I had to give it to him. With that one, there's no tacos on top of it. This is only for the cookie.
All right, hold on. Give me a second. So I'm knocking out him. Not him. Okay, not him, because he didn't come till later. Okay, not him because he didn't come till later. So who was the second person I said? I'm missing somebody.
You're missing somebody.
Falcon. I said. Who was the second person?
You have 30 seconds.
I mean, you may have said the person already, but I will highlight as well that you are missing a person.
You have 30 seconds. Liv.
You're not talking about Don Cheadle. I'm gonna say Don Cheadle.
You want to? That's
Don
your final.
Cheadle.
That's your.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Greg, can you give him his results, please?
It wasn't there.
Congratulations, you have won 1 box of
nothing
non-crumble cookies.
Yes.
Yes, it was Idris Elba.
Oh, but that's not fair. He raps though. I know he raps. That's not fair.
We had no idea he rapped. But
you never heard his song?
I knew he got down. I did not know he gave me bars.
Bro, there's a song he did a remix with somebody. I think it was like Hyphy or something like that. Bruh, he came in. I was like, hold up. And I had to re-listen 2 or 3 times because I was like, yo, this dude can spit, bro. I'll have to send you guys a song.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I respect
definitely. But definitely go check out the song Vroom, VROOM, featuring Idris Elba from the GT7 soundtrack. When I say it was a shocker that he came in with so much swagger, so much drip, so many bars, and a mean Mustang.
Yes, Liv.
Oh
yes, Liv. Sweet
Lord.
I'm gonna have G send you the clip that he sent us because it was amazing. He dropped bars. But Greg, with that, before we transition, a question, because this is something I want to do moving forward. When we do this, I want to give it the dad rating for a video game that you have reviewed, and your suggestion of I believe a scale out of 10, or for us dads, let's make it fun. That dads like a rating out of coffee. Cups of coffee, what would you give it?
Oh, it's called Boasty. Okay, that's
okay. So
hold on.
So how many cups of coffee can we give? Is this 1 through 5?
Let's do 1 through 5. Let's do realistic, but 5. But first off, I just have to say how much I love Ham. When we say anything about music, he does not wait. Ham's like, you say bars, right? Give me a second. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Ham don't. I love that because Ham knows if I'm about to sit in them heat,
you got to sit in that heat. Don't tell me you got fire music and then wait for forever to send it. If you say you got a fire song, you better be ready with the link then and there in that conversation. I don't have time to play with you, sir. So shout out to Ham because I know he's dropping those links with the swiftness every time. He's like, oh, you like T Grizzly? Watch this links.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We love it.
Facts.
You gotta love it. But if I had to rate this, now granted I'm only about 5 hours into the game, but as of now I have to give it I'm gonna give it 4 cups of coffee accompanied by a cup of water.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna give it as of now.
No. Okay. I do straight coffee. I don't drink no water with this coffee. All right, we need that coffee to hit strong and hard. All right.
Oh yeah.
We're not that. Okay, so I get that.
Yeah.
I like that. I respect it.
I just respect that. So I definitely love that the fact that, Greg, you had the opportunity to at least try the game out 5 hours in and drop those links. If you guys have not, please go ahead and follow Greg at DadPad Gaming on all platforms, where he drops short clips not only on Twitter but also on his YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch channel. So,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a special topic. This is a special topic because I want to go ahead and go into it because it's huge. And we come from how me and Greg bonded on video games, not only with not Marvel, but with Metal Gear Solid. Fighting games has been a huge part of our gaming history, with the Wolves Den doing the best of 10, fighting after Floyd Mayweather fights, doing sets, and people sitting there watching us. There's a lot of big news going on in the FGC that is shaking the world to its core. One major thing that we've found out was Smash ain't going to Evo, y'all. Smash ain't going to be at Evo no more. Smash. And though Smash, no, as of recently, Smash has been one of the biggest takings, participant games of Evo of the past recent years. Smash was one of those games that you've seen played on Saturday for the finals, and Sunday was here for Street Fighter, your Mortal Kombats, and things of that nature. But now, Smash is taking Nintendo's taking their game and is like, hey, we ain't gonna be
taking their ball and going home,
right? You know? Because there was, I believe, there was so much going on within the. There's a lot to clean up in the competitive gaming world right now, and Evo was one of those who had a lot of scandal going on, a lot of creepy scandal that needed to be fixed. Yeah. And I don't personally blame Nintendo for taking their game from Evo at all.
Now I have a question for you. So, how much of that do you think is the unfortunate events that happened at Evo? It's particularly in the Smash community at that as well. Versus how much of that do you think has to do with the fact that Sony, the proprietors of PlayStation, own Evo now?
60-40.
Like, how much do you think? 60-40? Which one is getting 60?
60 is because of the scandals that was going on with the Evo situation that needs cleaning up. Just because Nintendo has that streak. I mean, Nintendo do not play. Anything big with Nintendo name brand on it, if it does not go their way, Nintendo's pulling, no matter what. 40 is Sony for sure. I think
it's a little more because I think they were already ready to do it, and then so they were like, all right, bet. Guess what? You're just helping us out. Like, let's get it on. Let's go though.
I definitely agree. 40 is just Sony's deal with that, and then how they're going to maintain it and things of that nature. And I don't know if this is because of Sony's doing, but there's more things coming in where a lot of these companies are like taking hold of what they want, and it's like, if you ain't with us, you ain't getting no check.
Yeah.
So, because I recently just put this in the chat. On top of Nintendo Smash not being at Evo, Capcom is saying, if it does not have Capcom's name on it, it is not a tournament that should be played. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Capcom is sanctioning. It's like, we own all Street Fighter. Anything Capcom tournaments belong to us.
So what? So wait a minute. Let me get clarification. So because to me, what it sounds like is that Capcom is alluding to potentially breaking off and like doing Capcom Cup as the premier and primary tournament that they're pushing.
That, and tournament holders no longer, if just for people for fun, can hold money tournaments with Capcom games.
Oh man.
It has been a huge deal. For more details, go ahead and check out Maximilian, who of course one of the people who are big in the FGC. Definitely reach out to Derek Mason and anyone who loves fighting games on that level, because it is a rippling effect throughout the community that is hindering, probably for me personally, not just me personally, but just for the community on how they can expand, because fans if participants and fans of the game did not put tournaments together to compete with their friends, and that expanded, we will not be in the position that we are in today at all. Not even close. And that you want to limit that from these people to do so is definitely wild. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is one of my favorite scenes in Fire Force that Greg has going on in the background. I really love this. Shinra comes in looking really, really fire.
Yeah, it looks insane that night.
But yeah, so how do you, Greg? Since you are, I mean, Street Fighter. I mean, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I've seen you put thousands of hours in there. You know, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. You was top 1500 in the North American region.
No, so that was actually Street Fighter 4 that I was top 15.
4. Okay.
Yeah. I really wish I would have kept going with Street Fighter 4 because I was a dog when I was a dog, man. But it's unfortunate because my thing is Capcom fighters in general, Street Fighter particularly was like one of my first, like, Sonic was number one. Street Fighter was probably my second video game that I fell in love with. Like, I remember like being like super ticked off at my cousin's house, sitting down in a room full of his friends who are in high school when I'm like 6 or 7, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't say you got next, so you got to wait till next round." It's like, oh, damn. Like, I remember like begging my auntie for quarters just so I could then beg my cousin to take me to the corner store so I could play Street Fighter at the corner store, just for my cousin to steal half of my quarters as tax to go play Street Fighter. Then I would have to wait for him to play and hope there was enough time and quarters left for me. So it sucks that, I mean, what we could be witnessing here is the death of Evo. Evo for so many years has been one of the first and one of the biggest platforms for esports. Like, before esports was esports, we had Evo. And quite honestly, like, while I always had some connection with fighting games from Street Fighter 2 all the way up until now, it was the Daigo Perry moment that helped me to understand exactly how intricate these games could be, which happened at Evo.
It's called the Daigo Perry for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and for that reason, it sucks because we saw the rise of esports with Evo. It was the first to do it. Like, yeah, there were tournaments before and, you know, competitions, money matches, those things did happen. People lined up at arcades for years and years and years beforehand. But Evo was it. It was the first one to really say, you know what, we're gonna double down on this community. We're gonna give them an avenue. We're gonna find a random warehouse or auditorium somewhere, and we're gonna sit down with 50 people. And we are all going to play, and we're going to go through these brackets. And it's turned into something amazing, turned into something beautiful. And it sprouted things like the League of Legends competitions, the Call of Duty competitions, the Apex competitions. All of those come rooted from Evo. It doesn't matter how you want to cut it. So it just sucks to see this, especially because we all know that the video game industry in particular is a forward-moving industry, and for that reason, so much of the history gets left behind. You know, there's so many like games right now that are wonderful games that are stuck on the PS3, stuck on the Sega Genesis, the PS1, so on and so forth, and there's no legal way to come about them. So to see that the premier branding of esports and Evo is potentially on its deathbed, like, right now I would imagine that Evo and E3 are looking at each other in the hospital like, which one of us goes first? Yep. Like, it sucks, man. It sucks. Like, I hope that Sony has a plan up its sleeves. Like, maybe they seal a deal with Capcom to have a partnership. I really don't want them to buy out Capcom, but like a solid partnership or like something to keep those games at Evo, and to see, you know, hopefully Microsoft and Nintendo at some point change their minds, because This is important. You know, it's gaming history, but I mean, only time will tell. So for now, I just hope and wish for the best, man. Like it sucks though. It really does suck.
Absolutely.
That is great.
Right, and it's just we just hope that I'll play close attention. If you guys don't mind, please give us a follow on our Twitter, as we will drop some of those updates in our Instagram, because I know we do have a few people that's in our network of friends who pay attention to FGC and just want to see how it grows. And with Capcom's recent announcement of Street Fighter 6, what are the tournaments and layouts of that game going to be, and how is it going to run at this point? Because fighting games outside of its fan base only survive as long as they do because of tournaments. And because honestly, truthfully, in my personal opinion, these games have been too open of a welcoming type of thing, which is great because it's open field, which is great. But the skill from these people who started a year versus people like Daigo it's like, yo, Daigo is a champion and a godlike competitor. Please stop giving some of these other characters these gimmicks to get them out of tough situations, because you wasn't having that in Street Fighter Strike 3. Was it Street Fighter Strike 3?
Third Strike. Yeah.
Third Strike, I mean. Third Strike. Yeah. You wasn't having this in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You wasn't having these in Street Fighter 4. You didn't have these in these games. You had to know what you were doing. Or you had to learn the game, and you had to understand your characters.
Like, it was the only way. Like, if you did not understand the mechanics of the game, you did not have like a intimate understanding of your character and the matchup your character is against, then
you was SOL.
That was it.
Yeah, it was SOL. And I'm not I'm not trying to take any type of credit from the people who put their time into the games now. It's just when you have a Tokido, when you have these big names of these individuals where we see them put in the time, and we know the time that it took to learn this specific combo, because that was like Capcom versus Marvel 2. It was Justin Wong has his own particular combo with Storm. That was Justin Wong combo. It was no one else's combo. That was his combo that he made himself, that he was able to pull off. You don't have that anymore. Everyone, like, once that combo is done, there's tutorials and videos up within hours that everyone can pull. But no, I want to get back to the fighting games where you have people like, yo, feel like, look at this, like, hey, this person did this combo himself. He developed, like, this is his combo, like the Floyd Mayweather shoulder roll. Anyone can mimic it. Only one is the true master of it. Period.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious on how things can go, where these fighting games will be developed in, and how these tournaments will lay out.
And I want to say the really the last game that was, to my memory, that was of that echelon, though it was not perfect, was Street Fighter 4. But since Street Fighter 4, the esports market has really exploded, and developers go out of their way to put that extra pizzazz in there to pull in more views of the esports. So, I mean, really, it's anyone who is a developer on any level. Please don't make your games for the sake of esports. Focus on making a solid fighter, and if the audience follows it, they will get behind it, and they will cultivate it, and they will make it a esports event. But please stop. Like you can even tell, like, the Street Fighter UIs, like, they space them out in a way to where ahead of time they want to have a space for their screamcasters to be like in between the health bars. They want to raise up the meter bars a little bit, so when there is a stream going of it, they don't get cut out by overlays. Like, when you can look at the UI of a fighting game and see that it's built in a way to say, all right, well, hey guys, look, this is pre-made for esports, we got a problem. Like, please, like, we don't want these fancy reversal mechanics that can turn the tides of a match with pure luck. We want this to be a game of chess. We want you to outthink the man. We don't want you to have to get lucky. So please, 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 Street Fighter 6, we hope that you have something amazing.
Arcane.
King of Fighters.
Please.
Arcane.
League of Legends coming out with their own fighting game. It looks good, and
yeah, I did see that. That does look good.
Yes, please be good. And I mean to cut you off, Greg. Go ahead, finish.
No, but that's it. Like, I mean, for all the new fighting games coming, please just keep in mind that the philosophy of easy to learn, difficult to master should be the thought process to creating your fighter. We want our fighting games to be accessible to a particular degree, but like auto combos that rival manually scripted combos, we don't want that
at all.
Like,
please,
we don't. Yeah, we don't want to tap 2 triggers to take out half of your health bar. We don't want that. We don't want cheap counters that you can use whenever. Like, we don't want those things. Please give us our technical fighters back, because that's what we love and that's what we want to partake in and that's what we want to watch.
Exactly. And I want to shout out Ham and Liv for going back and forth in the chat, because they both know when it comes to Mortal Kombat, it does not matter who is in the dojo. Only thing that matters is there's not fear in that dojo. And when I pull up with the sticks, I'm gonna need nephew ready. I'm gonna need Ham ready. I'm gonna need Liv ready.
He about the dog Liv right now. She talking crap. I told her, I was like, hey, there's 3 games that he for sure plays, bro. Like,
it doesn't matter when Aiden is ready to come to my dojo. Tell him there will be no fear.
Screaming. He came in screaming the day. He said, Dad, I did a brutality. I was like, what? Let me see. And he went and threw it back again. I was like, all right, He's like, Baza, you want to play me? He said, no. I was like, all right, he understood. He learned very quick, because he tried me once and I did not show. He was crying and on. Ever since then, he won't ask me to fight him. He'll be like, Dad, can you help me? I don't want to fight you. Just help me real quick. I was like, all right.
Are you? Is this 11 or X?
I got 11.
Okay, good. Tell your son to practice at 11 and wait for 12 and hope that some of those mechanics transfer over and that he may defeat us on the first week.
That's what I'm trying. I'm letting him work his way, because he understood. He understands what he has to do now. So he's been working on. So he does Fighter Z, Jump Force, and Smash. Those are his 3 fighters that he's doing right now, and he's working in more.
Whoa. What? Jump Force is not a fighting game.
Jump Force is a pretty game.
It's for whatever. Kids. It's you fighting, so that's what he's playing. It's
You're
a fighting
pressing
game.
Whoa. You stop saying that, you filthy light-skinned man.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Jump Force
that is it. What category is it in then?
Next topic.
Next topic, please.
Thank you, Liv. It's a fighting game.
We're going to make this one quick because we still have 2 major topics, but this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't care what anyone says. Y'all may make fun of him. You have your jokes. It does not matter. Because when he pulls up, he demands law and order, and you will shake his hand when my wonderful Donald Flying McScrooge Duck pulls up in Gen 9 and Pokemon Sapphire and Violet. It is going down. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So,
man. Man's excited about Donald Duck.
Yeah. So this is the first time in a while that I saw 3 starters for a Pokemon game, and one instantly said, "I'm going grass." Like, I am with the cat. I hope it turns into some super like overkill lion, tiger, possibly a bear. Oh my.
Liger.
Yeah, something beastly, like, because with Litten was dope, but when Litten turned into a luchador wrestling, basically firefighting thing, I was like, oh man, you guys did that again. Mm-hmm. So I hope that this one stays on all 4 legs. I hope that this one is ferocious and it's some type of saber-tooth tiger. But all in all, like, I love the designs of each one of the starters, and I am super excited to see where they go. So it's obvious that we probably have water flying, so it is going to get completely and totally wrecked against. Yeah. So if we have fire, I know a lot of times when they do double typings, they do it in a way to where they kind of do the rock, paper, scissors over again. So if we can do water flying, we can assume that we'll have maybe fire. Yeah, I was thinking maybe fire rock, because that would be
is getting hit hard with the water type moves. He will get destroyed.
Yeah.
Squirtle.
Do you people have an alligator that will be fire rock though?
Yes.
An alligator? Maybe so. I don't know. And then with that as well, we have the cat that's grass. And what do we think grass might be? Maybe grass ground, or because that would be weak against the flying, but strong against the water.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe, I don't know. Obviously they'll be out later on this year. Pokemon is very, very, very bad with security, so we will probably get a nice and reliable leak, maybe about a month before the game launches. So we'll just have to wait and watch. What is that sound? What is that sound?
What sound?
Oh no. There we go.
Yeah, I'm actually looking really forward to what these next Pokemons that's going up right now, for sure. Because I know for a grass steel.
Mm-hmm.
Liv, I'm not mad at Fire Fairy. I'm not actually mad
Fire
at that.
Fairy.
I'm
guess
not actually mad at that at all.
That would actually be I don't think we have a Fire Fairy
we don't,
Pokemon right now, do we?
We don't. I'm actually looking forward to that a lot. I really hope they do. Liv, if you get that right, I will send you a bottle of sauce for chicken. That's actually really dope. Like, I'm not even gonna stunt. Like, wow, that's because fairy Pokemon can use fire moves. Shout out to Sylveon, Daddy's bestest boy. Oh my god, that is dope. And then Grass Steel is cool, but oh my god, the flamethrowers. The magnitude of flame.
We don't want that actually.
Hold on. The Yoga Flame is going.
Yoga Fire.
Right. I'm not even a Yoga Fire. If it was Grass Steel, we would be knocking those bad boys out with an ember. Like we don't need that kind of negativity in our lives. Though the typing does sound extremely intriguing. Ooh, I don't want that. I don't want it. Oh my goodness, I don't want that. But again, we can always dream. We don't know what those typings are going to look like, but we can always dream.
But at the same time, it will make it fair, because if it's definitely water flying, that Pokemon's going to get hit hard with, was it ×4, ×8 attack from electric type Pokemon.
But electric isn't within the cycle of starters. So, because by that logic, we have to think about Charizard was fire flying, and Rock Throw was 4 times, on it. So I don't think it would necessarily. I think that when they do it, they only seek to balance it amongst the starting 3 types. So like whatever types are there, because like when you think about it, with Froakie, Fennekin, and Chespin, we had, what was it? It was Grass Fighting or Grass Ground, I forget. And then we had the Fire Psychic and then Water Dark. So Fire Psychic and Water Dark, those guys would cancel each other out on the Dark and on the Psychic tip. And then it was the other one was Rowlet, and then Rowlet was Grass Ghost, which would be strong against Psychic, but it would be weak against the Dark type, but it would be strong against the Water type because of the Grass typing. So there's going to be some type of like weird mesh of rock, paper, scissors incorporated to make that work. So I'm sure if we sat here and we really, really thought about it, we could figure it out. But I think I'm going to cross too many wires and hurt my head if I sit here and think about it all right now.
Right. But I'm definitely looking forward to see what comes about with the Pokemon game. Everyone knows, and everyone should know what game I'm getting. Correct? It is Violet. If you don't know, now you know. Jordan, you know why I'm getting Violet. Greg, you know why I'm getting Violet. There is no explanation. Liv, you should know now why I'm getting violent. Does anyone in the chat want to know? Sure, Nick. Why are we getting violent? No problem. Everyone look at the screen. That is why. Ta-da.
Purple. Now, I could also petition for Violet just off the strength that Mama was a Crip, Daddy was a Blood. I am a purple child. So, so we out here. Purple gang is a thing. I think I'm eyeing Scarlet though, just for the sake of variety.
Absolutely. Liv, I love you. You have been amazing. You know your brother so well. So now let's get to the nitty-gritty of the show, of the bulk of everything, where Ham can let loose and be himself. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are talking Twilight. I mean, the Batman.
Don't you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ham. G. Gentlemen, we got our first review movie of the year, because in 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going in on some Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 0. How do you two feel about the new rendition, the new take of cinematic, Batman with RP as your leader?
So, starting out, thank you, Liv, for warning us. But spoiler warnings are in effect. This is going to be a spoiler talk. So, with that being said, if you have not watched the movie, mute us. But keep that view, because we want you to hang out with us. But if you don't, I mean, it's a Batman movie. I mean, we all kind of understand to a certain degree Batman saves the day. Yay. Because heroes only lose when they want to have a new sequel out within the year, and there's not a new sequel coming out next year. So with that being said, let's get into it. The Batman, Robert Pattinson. Ham, how do you feel?
So I'm glad I waited. I've been waiting to say it. I haven't been able to talk to LA because my man's been sick. By the way, shout out. Hopefully he feels better soon.
LA, I hope you get better, brother.
Yeah. But yes. So I like it. It's really good. Do I feel that people are overhyping it by saying it's better than Dark Knight? 100%. It's a good movie though. That's not to say it's bad. It's a really good movie. But yeah, we're just gonna talk about this one. I'm not talking about the Dark Knight. Dark Knight came out. The Batman. Robert Pattinson did really good. I liked him. I liked at this stage of Batman that we got, because this is 2 years. He said he's been Batman for 2 years at this point. So, you know what I mean? Like, he's still young, yet he has some time under his belt. You know what I mean? So, like, you'll see, like, later, as we keep explaining, like, you know, through Arkham, you'll see some other villains and stuff, like, who's been around. Penguin, Colin Farrell, he did really good. He killed it. I loved it. Zoe Kravitz. Ooh, yo, her fighting even, I was like, bruh. Like, she was really I really liked the fighting throughout the whole thing. Falcone, oh, man, he did so good too. Like he get I liked how he was a mob boss. It paid homage to Falcone as a mob boss, which they kind of did in Gotham. Granted, it was just like in Gotham and it sucked because Gotham sucked. But like the guy that did Falcone did really good. But I loved Falcone. The Riddler was crazy and everything that you wanted. And like the actor, I remember him from one of my favorite Hugh Jackman movies, Prisoners. He's in Prisoners. And you kind of get that little vibe from it too. But yeah, I really liked the movie. It was really good. It was 3 hours, and I mean, like, but it paced really well. Like, I can't really think of anything to cut out. I'm like, oh, you could cut this part out and kind of cut it down. Like, it was packed to the brim of it too, and it was dark and the hands.
So, because I want your take too. It was a good. I'm guessing this is a reset, correct? Of the origin of a Batman movie. Mm-hmm. So everything here was a good start of a series of Batman as he's leading the Dark Knight cape moving forward, correct? From what you're saying.
Yeah, like if they leave this and just do, like, let's say they would do a trilogy, kind of how they did Dark Knight. How Dark Knight was not tied to anything, it was just its own, you know what I mean? Like 3 movies. If they do that with this, yes. and this was listen, this is what Batman Begins should have been, okay? Because this is kind of how, you know what I mean? Like, Batman Begins is like Batman when he first kind of started. Granted, like, this is like maybe to a year and a half, 2 years into it. But I feel like this is what Batman Begins should have been.
So can you expand a little bit on this is what Batman Begins should have been? Because in my opinion, right now I'm torn. I need to spend more time with the Batman, but I'm just going to jump ahead of the conversation a little bit. Right now I'm at a point to where I am trying to figure out which of the movies I like better between The Dark Knight and the Batman. But Batman Begins for me is definitively the third best film out of all Batman movies. So when you say that this is what Batman Begins should have been, and granted, I'm talking about live action movies, like we don't have to count like the animated movies.
My face still stands, but okay.
But yeah, so what do you mean when you say this is what it should have been?
Because so like Batman Begins was supposed to be the start of it, correct? Right? Like it's Batman coming into himself, kind of figuring out how to be Batman. Ergo, kind of what this is. Granted, like I said, this is like maybe like a year. Batman Begins was like him already in a year, because like I don't know if you ever seen Batman Year One. We
have.
When he walked up and broke a boy, and he was like, "Okay, so don't punch dudes so hard." Got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and you can see it with this, because if you think of where, I mean, The Dark Knight wanted to be a dark series. You know what I mean? It was nothing bright about it. There was nothing happy-go-lucky about it, and with Ra's al Ghul and the realism, like he was attacking the city, you know what I mean? Kind of like how the Riddler, like you saw he flooded the city, like my man's was trying to prove a point, and just like the dark and the like how it was trying to go dark, like that's what it wanted to be. Okay. Granted, it was still lighthearted and still a little bit, you know what I mean, like rough around the edges. I like, granted, and like I said, it's its own thing, but I just really liked like the fighting and everything, like all around. This was a really good movie. I just can't definitively say it's better than The Dark Knight, because when The Dark Knight came out, bro, it grabbed me. You know what I mean? Like, it like took me, bro, and I was just like, you can have all of me. Go ahead. I'm here for you. Like,
okay. You know? Two things I need to point out. Greg, can you please say, I'm here to revive Ra's al Ghul's destiny, please? I need that.
Take it over here, Ra's destiny.
Thank you. Needed that too. God. I am so proud of him because he censored himself because he was about to go.
Yeah, he almost dropped one.
I was so proud of you, Ham. Man,
but shout out to Metro Esports
for real for the sponsorship. But I definitely get that take because I made a Facebook status. I want everyone to understand that I was not lying. The Dark Knight was great because of the Joker. That was Heath Ledger's movie.
And it's funny enough, and that's why I say I have to spend more time, because adding to that, there's a part in the movie where, similar to The Dark Knight, where if you are not watching the clock, you could be like, man, is that it? Is this over?
There's like
yeah. So like, there's a very similar moment, and then it's like, oh wait, no, this isn't over. And when that happened, it was a part where I kind of stopped paying attention to the movie for 30 seconds, and I said, well, is he better than the Joker? And then I could not, at that point, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, Heath Ledger, like, right now is the best Joker that we've had within a Batman film. Mm-hmm. Like, Joaquin Phoenix did something amazing, but you kind of can't put that in the same conversation, because it was the Joker versus the Joker. And it is a beautiful movie for what it was meant to be. And I hope at some point we get a sequel where we get a crossover with Robert Pattinson's Batman or something of the sort. But
there's no need to, though, right? You see the movie.
But what I would say is this: Heath Ledger was his movie, versus the Riddler was part of his movie, and that's where I'm kind of torn on why I cannot figure which one is best, and I need to watch The Batman a couple more times before I can make that decision. Mm-hmm. Because if you take out Heath Ledger and you put anyone else in that position, I mean, it would have been a good movie, but Heath Ledger is what made it. So what I look at when I look at this movie is if you take any other actor and that was at least half as effective as, and I'm sorry, I'm losing the name of who played the Joker. I mean the Riddler, but if you put anybody else in that role, that movie could have still been as good.
No, I'm gonna say no because you got to think about okay, have you seen The Prisoners? It's with Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard's in it, Viola Davis.
I have not.
So it's about Terrence Howard, Viola Davis, their family. Hugh Jackman, he has his wife, and they both have daughters. The daughters get kidnapped, all right, and then they're trying to find them. And Hugh Jackman, and Terrence Howard kidnap who they think did it, and they trap him in a house and kind of start torturing him. That dude that's getting tortured, he plays this Ari kind of creepy, the scene when he pull up to the diner and he just looks at Batman and just starts smiling, because of the characters that he's played, he sold that scene. That's why I was not a lot of people can if you would have put somebody else, I would not have felt even he had the mask on, but that whole kind of creepy scream and there's something really wrong with him thing, that's his role that he plays in his movie. So to pick him, I feel and to choose him was right, because if you try to put somebody who's not really to the norm of doing that kind of role, it wouldn't have worked and it would have felt forced. Ergo, Jeffrey Wright. That's my only problem with this movie is that he was forced. I felt he forced a lot. That whole scene when him and Batman were talking to each other, you know what I mean? In the thing, and he he told Batman to punch him, and I'm just why are you talking like that? And then he tried to do the Batman talk to the Penguin after that, and I'm just no, that's not, you know what I mean? And I get that was his own rendition, but I don't know, some of his scenes felt a little forced, but he was still good.
Are you referring to Pattinson or dude that played Jim Gordon?
Jeffrey Wright, the dude that played Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, he was okay. I'm not going to I think he's a good actor, but I know this is one of the first times that he has but a leading role in a movie, because we usually see him as the smart scientist or the smart guy that no one listens to. And I can agree there. He was not the standout. He was good. I definitely prefer the Dark Knight's version of Jim Gordon a little bit more.
Gary Oldman is a phenomenal.
Gary Oldman
is that guy.
Yes.
But at the same time, I am happy and excited that we got a black Commissioner Gordon. That's cool.
I will say I like that there were prominent black roles that were being the new mayor, she was black, you know what I mean? Jim Gordon was black, you know what I mean? Right. Catwoman was black, you know what I mean?
Though we've had a couple black Catwomans before, and we're not talking about Halle Berry.
Thank you, Jesus. We will not bring that up ever, because Perry will go on a 45-minute rant on why that movie is god-awful and as equally as trash as Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, my God.
And because this podcast is powered by Metro Esports.
So before we talk about Halle Berry, we will give every respect to the one and only, God rest her soul, Eartha Kitt. Continue with the podcast, please.
But yeah. Go ahead, dude.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. But that's the thing is that another thing is that if you go through the Dark Knight and you look at let's take out Batman. Okay, now if you take out Batman and you look at all the other kind of, let's say, leading roles now, if you take out the Batman and you look at Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart, he did great as, you know.
Oh yeah. He was a good.
You know what I mean? And then you have the Joker, great. Gary Oldman, he did really great. You know what I mean? Alfred, Michael Caine did his thing. You know what I mean? So, and now you go over here and it's the same thing. So that's why I get why it's kind of hard, because everybody kind of killed their role in their own sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all brought everything they had to the table, and that's the thing is it met what you wanted plus more. I will say that they gave you the best fighting. That car chase scene was A1. A1.
Why?
I have one other thing. I'm mad that they wasted their F word. I was so mad that they wasted it in the beginning, like in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like they should have saved the F-bomb for Penguin.
For the Penguin, because he was driving. Oh my gosh!
So this is the thing that I appreciate so much, because until I did some more research, watched a couple more videos, looked at some of the behind the scenes stuff, that jump with the Batmobile over the wreckage through the flame was 100% practical. There was no CGI, and we need more of that.
In the sense that, like, oh yeah, this ramp just lined up perfectly over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about from a filmmaking aspect. So like the explosion, the flames, the jump, the car was all real. There was nothing added to that but lighting and cameras.
That's dope, man.
And in filmmaking today, where CGI is such a big thing, like, yes, we do appreciate our CGI, but man, when I tell you, you see that scene of the Batmobile blasting through the flames over the ramp and landing behind Penguin, and that explosion just boom, like there was that moment where you're like, and we need so much more of that, and that's why I agree. I think that for Penguin should have been the F-bomb moment, like, like we're here.
He was like, I got you. He was like, you freaking crazy guy. Like, you know, and it just sounded weird. And I was just like, that's when they should have said, boom. When I would have been like, see, that's good, because that's Penguin. You know what I mean? Like, that is. And so, but so Andy Serkis he was okay. It was a definitely different take on Alfred. They went more of like, I guess you can say, the military form of out, because like, I mean, Michael Caine, like, he talked about his past and what he did, but he was very much older. And I feel like even if you look at him, like, what, he maybe had like 20 years on him, like 30 years on him, you know what I mean? So like, he wasn't, but it was okay.
I mean,
it definitely brought the gravity. Like, I liked how like his role in it. Like, his role was to like, like Bruce, because you know Bruce was struggling with obviously like, who was my parents, who were they really? I'm only hearing what other people saying. It's kind of hard to figure it out. And then, you know, Alfred's there to be like, nah, man, you know, like there's one scene where like, it was the funeral scene. I don't know if you guys seen the trailer, but like when he's gonna go to the funeral, Alfred's like, oh, you're all dressed up, and he's like, where's your cufflinks? He's like, oh, I couldn't find them. And Alfred starts taking off his cufflinks. He's like, Alfred, I don't need your cufflinks. And he said, hey man, you're a Wayne, like, don't forget that. And he gives them to him, and they're the W. And then even Bruce is like, you know, like, oh, and are you a Wayne too? And he looked at him dead in his face, bro, and was like, your father gave me those. And then Bruce, like, you know, it brought that like you know,
that moment of levity, like, where he was like, and so what I'll say, as far as like, it was a weird dynamic. Like, I love the dynamic that we got between Andy Serkis and Robert Pattinson. I think that it worked extremely well. I'm excited to see what they do in more movies. I agree that the age gap between them is not as extreme as we're used to seeing. That was a little weird. I have two gripes though. One, when we go to kill Alfred, well, I mean, now technically they didn't go to kill Alfred. There's a scene where there was a bomb that was supposed to kill Batman. Supposed to kill Bruce Wayne, more particularly. And Bruce Wayne was not there. Alfred was there to receive the package. Now, this is my thing. If you go to injure Alfred, injure him. You know, have someone hit him with a club, have someone kidnap him and bang him up a little bit. What I do not want you to do is do not freaking blow Alfred up. And then pull the type of foolishness of, oh, he's okay, he's in a hospital bed. Like, that was like one of my biggest complaints is, if you're gonna blow up Alfred, kill him. Yeah. If you do not want to kill him, find a different type of way.
Do not fairy tale me.
Yeah, like that could have been like, you know, like an anthrax package. That could have been like I don't know.
Greg, that's really aggressive.
I'm just saying.
That's aggressive. I'm
just saying.
You could have went with. You could have went wrong.
It could have been
Amazon package.
It could have been anything. It could have been
I mean, he is smart. Like, he threw. But one thing that did get me though is like, even like when he did it, he's been on a cane limping this whole time, and he was like, oh, I could jump out the way perfect. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's what got me. That's why I say it could have been like an anthrax package. If you would have poisoned Alfred, if it was anthrax, if it would have been some type of like rat poisoning or something. All right, yeah, we can debate. Maybe he could survive this, but it's the fact that they gave this man he's right here. He's right here. He's close enough to read this.
Yeah, but he throws it and kind of jumps behind the table. You know what I mean? And like, come on.
So now, Ham, you are a military man. Have you ever seen a grenade go off?
Yes.
So let me ask you this: if said grenade is right here, right here, close enough for me to read it as a blind old man, and then I throw the grenade, but. Okay.
It's not the same power as a grenade, bro. There's a little bomb on there.
It was a C4 explosive, and they specified it was C4.
Look at the explosion when he threw it. It barely blew up the room. Like, you know, it would have tore down the building. It barely blew up the room.
Exactly, and that because of plot. Yeah, and again, like I said, I love this movie, and I will watch it another 3 or 4 times, and then I'll watch Dark Knight another 2 times, and I'll make a definitive decision on which of these films I like better. Yeah. But what I am saying is, because we're there, we specify now if C4 is thrown from here to here, and then it explodes.
It was
Am I alive? You better Am I alive? Answer the question, Ham.
You behind the table? I mean, no, you might survive. You're gonna be messed up, but there's a possibility you can survive. You might be messed up.
So if C4 exploded less than a yard away from you, you're gonna survive. That man didn't die behind a building. Like, I did not blink in that scene because I knew what was coming. I didn't blink. I didn't wince. I didn't flinch.
Okay, I wasn't on scene, so I can't give a valid answer.
Okay, so my point is, like, if you're gonna blow up Alfred, kill him. If you don't want to kill him, just have some grunts beat him up or something.
I feel you though.
Yeah,
but one thing I did like is like they showed that it is a young but still like known Batman. You know what I mean? Because like if you we know Batman, bro. Batman don't be taking hits. Like if you talk about Batman, like he has hands. Like, he coming, he's like, ugh. But like this Batman is so young. He's so aggressive, he's so aggressive, like he's like one of those dudes, bro. Like he has his armor on, bulletproof armor, and he's like, I don't care, like, dude, hit him. He's just like, dude, shoot him. He's just like, yeah, okay, like he's eating everything, bro. Like that scene when he's walking, he just walks down, bro, and he like it's like one of the first scenes, bro. He walks down, he walks up, and they're just looking at him. Dude pulls out a machete, bro, and he's just like, who are you? And he doesn't say anything, bro. He just walks up to him, blocks a hit. Cracks him, dude falls on the ground, bro, and then he was just like, hold up. And then he was just like, yeah, like that. I'm him, bro. I'm him. Yeah. Come on.
So very quickly, I do have to, because I know we went on a tangent. I have to just pull back to Alfred for a minute.
Hold on, let me answer these things real quick. No, Liv. He's only 2 years into being the Bat family. So
yeah, exactly. So 2 years,
possible.
But my other thing with Alfred was that moment where he kind of learned a dark secret about his family, and we'll try not to spoil everything because that's an unnecessary spoiler to just drop during the review. But when he learns out something about his family and he confronts Alfred about it, after he figures out that half of his life has been lies, he's like, Alfred, you lied to me. And Alfred's like, no, I didn't. And he's just like, oh, okay, then what happened? Which I thought was kind of weird. But I do want to shout out to back to Batman and those scenes where he's throwing hands. One of my favorite things is like the 3 ways that he comes to the Ice Lounge Club. We have Batman at the beginning. He's like, do you know who I am? And they're like, yeah, get out of here. Yeah. Dude comes and gets his twin. They throw hands and he just walks in.
Okay. That's what I wanted to bring up. Dang, you were taking my point. The scene in which Batman was trying, Robert Pattinson was actually trying to get into the club, and there was 3 situations. He came in as a Batman. Yeah. And people was like, and? Who the is you? Then he came as Bruce Wayne, like, yes, Master Bruce.
Yeah.
And then he pulled off the detective move, like,
Yeah,
Like, bro,
and
I'm not dealing with y'all.
that's what's interesting about this movie. We've seen movies where Batman is learning to be Batman. We've seen movies where Batman is Batman and he's doing this thing, and we've seen movies where Batman is trying not to be Batman and finding out. This is the only live action movie that we have where we are finding Batman in a situation where he already knows how to be Batman. He is more or less trying to find his lane as a superhero. Or as a hero, technically, since he doesn't have superpowers other than white privilege and money. But
money is a very powerful superpower.
Absolutely. But this is why I highlight when you see him at the beginning of the movie. Like I said, he comes to the club. They're like, "Yeah, get out of here," whatever. He gets his twin brother. They attempt to beat up Batman. Batman completely wrecks them. Walks into the club. Second time he comes as Bruce Wayne, which we see growth because somewhere in this movie you can tell that Batman understands that Bruce Wayne is also needed as a piece of the puzzle to solve this mystery. So we see him starting to kind of figure things out. So at that point, he comes back as Bruce Wayne. Hey, do you know who I am? And oh yeah, Bruce Wayne, come here, yeah. Come and talk to the boss. Not going to specify who the boss is because that is a huge spoiler that we want to, kind of stay away from if possible. And then later on, he comes back after he is getting towards the point of understanding where his lane could possibly be. And we see him knock on that door again. They open the door. Both of the twins are there for a third time. And this time he completely just like ninjas his way in. And it just kind of like shows the progression of Batman as a character and as a hero in the movie, because he's starting to understand that, okay, I do not have to punch everything that moves. And then testament to that, we've all seen in the trailer when they're like, "Who do you think you are?" And he just wells on guy and he goes, "I'm justice. No, I'm vengeance. Yeah. I'm vengeance," which was a really cool trailer moment. But we have a moment towards the end where the Riddler, his final plot has been foiled. Excuse me, I'm like fighting off the flu right now. That's why my voice sounds a little crazy. But anyway, he foils the plan and he like completely wells on another guy, very similar to how he did at the beginning. And when Batman is like, "Who are you?" and they ask like, "Who is this guy?" he responds back, "I'm vengeance." And then at that moment, you have Batman. He doesn't give you the cheap, "Oh, okay, I get it." He stares, and you can see within Robert Pattinson's face through his eyes that something clicks. And he's like, "All right, I've got to do something different here," because there's a scene where Batman actually confronts the Riddler, and it creates a huge conflict within Batman. Because this is why, for me as a lifelong Batman fan, like I've been Batman since I was 4, like, and if you know the dynamic of Batman and his rogues gallery, that there is no rogues gallery without Batman and vice versa. Like you have like the Penguin because the Penguin is out there doing his thing, but the Two-Face happens because of his interactions with Bruce Wayne and Batman. The Joker happens because he's so intrigued by the Batman, he has to be his counterweight, so on and so forth. So this is the first movie that really explores that, because when you have that scene where he sits down and he finally confronts the Riddler, it's like, "Hey, like you're my accomplice in this. Like we're partners. Like you inspire me." So when you see that moment that Bruce is completely, Batman, Bruce, they kind of play the fact that they are different people in a lot of ways.
Right.
But when you have that conversation and you see Batman's reaction to like how conflicted he is by that statement, but he does not understand it. And the first thing he does is he's in denial. He's like, no. Yeah. And then you fast forward to the moment where the Riddler goon says, "I'm vengeance." It clicks at that moment, and he's just like, and I'm gonna go ahead and use our one, but that's when he has his "oh shit" moment. Yeah. And he's like, this is why he said that I inspire him. This is why he is the way that he is, because of the way that I have been. And like for me, as like Batman as a character, like we've never seen a movie where that happens. Those are usually things that happens off screen in between movies, and then he comes back and he's no longer the hero that Gotham needs. He's the hero that they want, or however the saying goes. So it's very interesting to see that in this movie we got to see Batman go through that transition, learn those things real time in front of our faces. And I'm super excited to see what the next film is going to be like now, because now we know that Batman understands that we have to be a symbol of hope. That does open up the door, like the symbol of hope. And we know now that Riddler had some orphan things going on. He feels a certain type of way about orphans. There's a kid in the movie that he runs into whose father died, and we see how that impacts both Bruce and Batman and the kid throughout the movie.
Alfred, even Alfred. Remember when even Alfred. By the way, I love that contact lens, bro, that he got, bro. Bro, that's so dope.
Yeah, that was dope. But from that though, like, because we have that development, that does open the opportunity to say, all right, well, we know now that he's had this development. He knows now that he does not have to be as violent. This opens up the opportunity to where we might get a Robin in this world of the Batman sooner than we think, because now he's kind of understood certain things. Now, is it going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen in the second movie. Maybe the third movie. I don't know.
It might like, and they can go off and do their own Robin. But yeah, it's like that's what it's too. He's only 2 years in. Like, he's definitely not bringing anybody in. I'd say maybe probably the third movie, because honestly, they've already said it. Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson have always said if they get the green light to do a second movie, Quarter Owls is happening. And
they am here
for it.
And the Court of Owls can work because, like, again, without giving too much spoiler to the film, though we have spoiled some really good story beats. The reality is, this movie, while it's heavily inspired by the Zodiac Killer in real life, as well as the Long Halloween comic graphic novel / the animated movie, I think he was in there a little bit.
Calendar wasn't because they were doing the day that, but like I get what you're saying.
But we have so much inspiration from those movies.
Owls.
Owls. Did I say owls?
No, she's asking. She's saying
owls.
Owls, yeah, like the bird. For a lot of reasons, but owls are known to be all-knowing, all-seeing creatures of the night, just like bats. And owls are also known to actually feed on bats because they are predators. So there's lots of parallels why they are named the thing that they are. But the Court of Owls are essentially Gotham City's Illuminati, and the entire theme of this movie is unseen, unknown corruption behind the scenes. Who's really pulling the strings here? Mm-hmm. So if they're going to continue within that lane, the stage is already set. We have a huge stinger from another potential future villain. I'm not going to spoil it.
Which I'm really happy with who the actor that they chose to. I was like, because at first I thought it was somebody else. I was like, what? Until I heard something and I was like, yeah.
Ham, you text me and you text me now. You text me now. This is the one time I give you the full 100% go ahead and tell me now.
Yeah. What I'll say is, from that stinger, I got the chills. Like my wife is sitting next to me. She's like, "Who is that? Is that Two-Face? Is that Scarecrow? Like, who is that?" And I'm just like sitting here like pinch cliff.
My son too. I'm like, and then we're walking out of the movie theater. We get to the car, and I'm like, "All right, son, you ready for the answer now?"
It's like it's none other than Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If that happens, I recant my. Though I want him.
Aiden was saying. I was talking to Aiden about it, and he actually said Killer Croc, and I said Killer Croc would actually work in this, and
especially in the sequel, because the entire and not to cut you off, but I have to give a shout out to the film, because a lot of times in a lot of superheroes, like the MCU has made this a little better, but in a lot of superhero films, like the villain is usually stopped before he can see through his plan. In this movie, the Riddler actually kind of follows through and executes his plan right up until like the final piece of the puzzle where it falls apart. But the movie ends in a way to where the city is flooded, and there is no solution. And at the end of the movie, the city is still flooded. They are waiting on the Coast Guards to get there to help out. Martial law is in effect, and they do not know what is coming next. In that type of situation where the Gotham's like floor level is flooded, that is again an environment that is ripe for
and think about it. Okay, so along with what you said, floor is flooded, and then now you have, you know, Gotham essentially like torn apart. The Quarter Owls, in the sense of all of their stuff, they're the ones that are like running Gotham. They're going to be the ones to bring it up and get it all back and right. And I think that which would lead to a sequel anyway, because then he's going to be like, who's doing all this? You know what I mean? Like, how is everything happening so fast, kind of thing. But
yeah, definitely so. So in sitting right now, let's go ahead. Like, I know, Perry, you have not seen the movie in entirety just yet. You're waiting to hopefully get that done maybe this weekend or sometime next weekend. So I'm not going to ask you, but right now, top 3 Batman movies, Ham, where are you?
I can still answer that.
Bias or unbiased? I need that answer.
I mean,
because it's Dark Knight, the Batman, and then like, I
swear to God,
No. I swear to God, really love Batman Returns. Like, that's one of my top Batman movies.
Okay, as long as
because they feel like I get it's not Mob Penguin, but like Danny DeVito killed Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer killed that Catwoman. Not like more of like a sexy, fun toying with. You know what I mean? Not as like a dark noir Catwoman as Zoe Kravitz did. And then Michael Keaton as Batman, man. That's
the soundtrack Prince made too, right?
Yeah. Danny Elfman was on that, but yeah, Prince was on that one too.
Okay, as long as you did not say the one and only bat nipples, we're good.
Nope. No. Batman Begins is like close behind that too. I really like Batman Begins.
Okay. That's understandable. And then I already said mine, but right now, as of now, I'm gonna leave Dark Knight and the Batman at a tie until I can spend more time with the Batman. But it's okay because I'm the same way. Like with No Way Home right now, I'm not gonna call it the best the best Spider-Man film until I can spend more time with it. Like, I adore the movie, but I've got to spend more time with it.
It was great on this time, but like, what do you mean?
But can I say this? Can I?
So this is what I'm gonna say. I've only seen it once, and this is my thing.
What other Spider-Man movie is even in competition with?
I understand, but this is my
Spider-Verse.
thing. When you spend more time with films, things happen. You see things that you didn't see before, and sometimes you notice issues and you notice things that you don't care for. The first time that I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming, I'm like, oh man, this is great. I love this movie, and I still like the movie, but like at that time, like there was a question of Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man: Homecoming. At that point, I would have said Spider-Man: Homecoming. However, after spending more time with that particular movie, Spider-Man 2 is my favorite. And then, at the same time, when I saw Spider-Man
Far From Home,
it was one of those things where I was like, all right, yeah, this is definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie. And then over time, it stayed there. But, at this point, sometimes you feel things when you're in the hype of a particular moment, and once you get to spend more time with it to intimately understand the film, because I've only seen it once, it's like, all right, well, I still love this movie, but maybe it's more of a 9 out of 10 than it is a 10 out of 10. So, like, for that reason, I try not to decide my top rankings of movies in the honeymoon phase, because at that point, that's why I will not. And like, even in the conversation I had with you before the show, I said, hey, I'm conflicted. It might be that. Yeah,
but I just try to say that to say that No Way Home is not the best live action Spider-Man movie, that's ridiculous, because it's better, like, but that's the thing, I approach from an unbiased position now. What you're holding it against to Spider-Man 2, I love Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, but to try to be like, oh well, it's not like
that movie aged terribly.
It's not.
No, it hasn't. Spider-Man 2 was the last Spider-Man movie I've seen before I seen Far From Home, and it went through this thing, this. So how can I explain? So it went through a phase to where that movie was God tier, and then it went through a phase where it was not aging as well. And it's like, but then what happened is the MCU happened, and we had this moment where every Spider-Man movie, every not X-Men, but every Captain America, so on and so forth, had to have a connection to the next film and the previous film before it. And in some ways, though I love the MCU films, sometimes the weaving of one movie into another can kind of bog it down. So for that reason, when you look at the Spider-Man 2 movie for what it is in a vacuum away from it, yeah, it can at sometimes be a little hammy. Pun is definitely intended, but it actually still holds up as top 3 Spider-Man films in my opinion. I don't know when the last time you have watched it, but please go watch it again.
Peacock has all of them on there. I watched all 3 of them.
So,
within the last
our
month,
opinions will differ. I will not go into detail with that, but I hold my own opinion about that movie.
I know he hates that movie. I don't know.
No, I don't hate the movie. It's just, to me personally, it did not age as well, and I have my takes on that just from a cinematic standpoint. As for a Spider-Man movie, sure, let's go with that. But I digress. One of the things I did point out, because I didn't really get to talk during Batman, because you guys are Batman
aficionados.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I'm going to bring my wife some water real quick, so you guys keep it live. I'll be back in a second.
All right, cool. Have fun. One thing that I do want to point out that I really enjoyed that Chris Stuckman pointed out was they did not hide the fact that Batman wore black eyeliner when he wore his mask. Like, they did not shy away, because in Batman Returns, Michael Keaton, there was a scene where his eyes were black, and when he ripped off his mask, there was no black.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm glad of what they did, and things that I want to say that I've heard was, like, when you heard Batman walking around, it was a thing of suspense in this movie. Like, you heard Batman, he was like, oh, God.
Oh, bro, like, in the beginning of the movie, they show, like, he's like, he's, kind of narrating, it's been 2 years since I've been Bat, kind of thing. Yeah. But he's like, that fear, it's not, he's like, it's not there to, it's a warning. Like, that's his whole thing. And, like, you see, bro, like, people are out there doing their dirt, bro, and they look up and they see it, bro, and they really, like, they like to do with spray painting, right? Like, nothing big, but, like, he's spray painting. And he sees the symbol, and like somebody bumps him, and his spray can rolls into the dark. And he's like, "They always think I'm in the dark. They always think I'm on." And like people really be like, "Yo, he could possibly be." And they start running because they don't know if he's there or not. I'm like, I like that they show that he, like, in the 2 years that he's been the Batman, he solidified as something to not be messed with. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? To these lower level, but then like you see, like when he goes like in his interactions with Penguins, they kind of like you just whatever, bro, like you ain't nothing to me, you know what I mean, like I'm supposed to be scared of you or something, but like
absolutely
he shows it out, and I like it. It's good. I like the tone that they set. I like the way that they went with it. It did what it needed to do, and it gave you a little bit more.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. So while we take this quick little water break intermission with Greg, what are you playing right now? What is your game of choice? Because you have a laundry list of things that you need to do, not things you need to enjoy, which you are going to enjoy, but you have a list because you have a 5 now, and there's things you must catch up on, because though you are of upper echelon, you have a list to be accepted. And that list, if once completed, you will be accepted full throttle within the PS5 upper echelons club. Until then,
I'm on the lower tiers, I know. Obviously Apex, but that's just PC wise. PS5 wise, I've been wanting to for sure get it before Horizon Forbidden West, because I've been wanting to play that.
Yeah.
So I know I got that. I promised Greg and you already, so I have to play Persona 5 Royal. I think that like has to be like the first official game that I stream on my PS5. That will be that game. All right.
Just play the soundtrack.
And I have to do 2K is like I've been waiting. I got like 4 or 5 homies that literally I message every day, and they already got their builds going, and they're we got a little team going and everything like that. I'm obviously not gonna stream it at first because I gotta get my player right. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be looking trash on there. But that's probably the 3 game. And then God of War's coming when? April, right?
No, God of War hasn't had a official and that release date yet. So It's still scheduled for 2022. From what we have, but there hasn't been a set date.
Okay, well, so good then. Yeah, I got time.
As of right now, Elden Ring is still Game of the Year.
I have, Yeah, so it'll be Persona 5 Royale and Horizon Forbidden West. I'll be bouncing between those before with 2K grinding on the late nights, and yeah, so that's what I got so far. And then yes, I'm not doing Elden Ring off rip. I'm telling you right now, that's not getting the first play. All right, it will get played, but
it shouldn't because you're a rookie on the From Software lifestyle. I've put in as we go into our week review of Elden Ring. I'm already 40 hours deep. I was able to put in good time in that. So one thing I want to go ahead and will tell you is when you play Persona 5 Royale, there are going to be dungeons that you go through, there are going to be spirits that you face, and there are going to be bonds that you make. But the most important thing about Persona 5 in the grind that you have is what you put as your favorite song on your list.
Okay.
Because, sir, there are correct answers, there are wrong answers.
But like, do you get all the songs off rip, or do you have to
No, you have to unlock them. You have to unlock them.
All right, so then you gotta like.
Are you talking about in the thieves' lair?
Yes.
In the hideout.
Based on what I got, you know what I mean. Depending on then
your list will grow, and it will be understandable. We will guide you for this secret ending. We will guide you because it needs to be guided. Yes.
Okay.
But understand this, sir.
I'm listening.
If you do not put this one particular song as your number one, there will be problems and there will be repercussions. There will be consequences and repercussions.
Consequences and repercussions.
Understand that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
as we
but enjoy. Like quick question on Persona. Ham, like I know that you do a little bit of anime. How much anime do you do? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not much at all, and 10 being Aiden from the Anime Academic.
You're not nowhere near him.
No.
I know. But just so you know what that scale looks like.
I'm about like a 5 or a 6 then, because I really like it. I'm just trying to figure out like what to watch because I have so much.
That's
which is fine because I'm like, though I love anime, I'm like maybe like a 6.5 or maybe a 7. Mm-hmm. But the easiest way to explain this game is it's like playing through your favorite anime. So take some time. Literally, the game tells you to take your time because it is one of those. Yes, Liv, I watch anime. There's literally anime in the background right now.
He's watching Fire Force.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I'm trying to. Hey, by the way, you guys, I've been making good headway with D-Rain and some anime. He's all caught up on Demon Slayer now.
Thank God.
Good.
I put him on it, and I was like, just start watching it. And then, like, literally, like, he was at the hospital, like, or like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, he just texted me, bro, I'm at the movie now. Okay, that movie was dope. I was like, all right, go to sleep. He's like, this animation. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, yep. Welcome to our life now. So I'm getting him in there, you guys. Mm-hmm. All right, we're getting him back in the flow.
Good.
Wonderful. There's nothing better to do while you're at home with a newborn child but to watch anime or play games that you can learn to play with one hand. So
masterfully.
He's been playing a lot of Destiny too.
Which
hopefully with 2 hands.
Funny enough, before we transition to our final topic, everyone be on the lookout for the Captain's Quarters, aka the Captain's Lounge, where I sit down and have one-on-one conversations with some of my favorite people. We'll be starting off with only D-Rain and Demigod China as we take a deeper look into the Destiny 2 DLC.
Yes. Now, so before we get into that final announcement, and we're getting into our 1 week review of Elden Ring, which will be our official review of Elden Ring, I want to actually make a formal announcement here, and we will definitely kind of push and support this more as we go along. But at this time, I think we can go ahead and make the official announcement that Greg from DadPad Gaming and Captain NU, Mr. Perry here, have decided effectively to merge our projects into one. So in moving forward, almost all content that you get from Perry and almost all content that you get from Greg from DadPad Gaming will all be hosted, uploaded, and featured on the Blerd Lines YouTube channel. So in moving forward, you will see that all videos that are uploaded to my current DadPad gaming channel will be re-uploaded over to the Blerd Lines podcast YouTube channel. So please definitely give us a follow there, because that's where you will get all the content moving forward. And beyond that as well, the reason I say almost all content is because it's actually almost all. The almost would be the exception that our streams will still remain respectively at Captain NU 2011 and DadPad Gaming, respectively, over at twitch.tv. So if you do want to see us on some solo streams, absolutely pull up to our respective Twitch channels. But for all content created from this day forward, and even some of our retro content that will be re-uploaded, you can always catch that live over at the Blerd's Podcast YouTube. Please report over to the comments. I am dropping all of the links where you can find us on our most reliable channels here and now. Liv had it as well. I have it again. You have been spammed with everywhere that you can follow us to get the quickest response. So please, with that being said, Captain, go ahead and roll us into our final topic, please.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been an official work week of dedicated Elden.
And it's been work.
Man, it has been dedicated work of Elden Ring of Elden, in which we actually take a dive into the story. We actually got our opinions out. We seen the love that we have for this game, the bad of this game, and actually start building our characters in a sense of, okay, this is the direction I want to go in. Start fighting more people, dive into the world even more, and give you guys our official coffee rating for Elden Ring. So, I'll go ahead and begin this by creating the cup and starting the brew with a G. Because it's not a good starting point, but it's a starting point for me. I was having trouble with a particular boss in a dungeon because I was looking for a particular armor. And I told G with this particular boss, like, hey, bro, he's difficult. He was like, no, he's not, bro. Watch this. I'm like, what do you mean? When in doubt, meteor out. And I'm like, excuse me? Bro, when in doubt, meteor out. So I'm like, dude, bro, share your screen. He was like, all right. So on PS5, Jordan, you will have to do this to get your official card. You must share your screen, and we must watch you and guide you for your upper echelon PS5 guidance. I said, Greg, share your screen so I can see where you're at, because I had to help him through the actual area to him to get to the boss, because the area, again, had phenomenal NPCs. One of them have a beautiful voice, very ugly, but a phenomenal singing voice. Where we guided him, he was like, bro, watch this. I'm like, bro, you have to be, you're muted, G. We can't hear you.
So let me explain this to you, because as I'm like maneuvering up this mountain, and there are NPCs that you can interact with, and this is the most I've played of any Souls game, though I've played enough of them to say, all right, I have learned the mechanics, I have gotten good, but this is not my type of game. Yeah. But for some reason, I am still stuck on Elden Ring beyond that 15 to 20 hours where I learned the mechanics. So as I'm like maneuvering through and learning that you can talk with these NPCs, and where you think they only have one or two things to say, if you continue to interact with them during different levels of the game, you start to learn that these characters actually have stories and motivations and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So as I'm moving through and I hear like this beautiful voice, I'm like, what is that voice? And I see this angel in the distance, and I'm like, oh, look at this gold angelic creature. Like, should I go talk to her? Like, and then I'm clicking the right stick and it locks on. I'm like, is this an enemy? And I'm like, all right, Perry, like, do I attack this thing? Do I go talk to it? Like, what's up? And what Perry says to me is, poke it with the stick, find out.
Oh my gosh.
So when I tell you I walk up on this thing, it stops singing. It turns from this angelic looking creature into like this
raging ball of
raging death. Golden ball of a harpy death. I'm like, oh my God. And it summons like 6 bats, and they descend from above and they just start raining on me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I die. Now, luckily, I'm at a point to where I'm at such a high level. If I'm going to level up, it's either going to be A, because I've beaten a boss, or B, because I decide to go do some experience farming. Mm-hmm. Like, there is no, like, traverse the world and level up at the point that I'm at now. So if I die and lose my experience points or runes in this game, whatever. So I'm just like, oh, gosh, stupid batch. Go about my business. And Perry's just sitting there laughing. He's like, yeah, you poked it with a stick. Yeah. But anyway, what Perry doesn't speak on enough, like when he tells me to go in with this particular portion, he's like, oh yeah, this boss is gonna kill you, man. Just go in there, man. I'm gonna watch you. Share your screen. Oh yeah, you gonna die. And I'm like,
because I wanted to see this meteor thing, because I was like, this boss was like, if you didn't have this boss is actually really annoying.
Yeah. So I go in. Someone luckily had left a summoning mark next to the boss's door, which I was just going to summon in my one of my summons anyway, because you can like summon like spirits in that can assist you in certain areas, particularly with bosses.
That was a NPC summon too. NPC summon.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, so I used the summon for this NPC. He pulls up and completely takes the aggro. Now, if you are a poor soul that decides to use swords or a sword or a spear or an axe, you've got to get in close. Yeah. And getting in close isn't always the worst, because like I have a character who is balanced enough to do some fair damage with the sword, though magic is really my bread and butter. Okay. So there are some bosses where I have to get in, do some pressure, whoopty wop, shank in the back, right? You know, whatever. Right. But this particular boss, I'm just letting an NPC aggro out the boss. I'm kind of scrolling back, and I have this gravity spell that allows me to pull up rocks from the ground and launch them at an enemy, and they actually track as well.
Control style. I like it.
Yeah. So he's like, man, he's like, meteor out. I gotta see this. I'm all right, bet I'll go in there, and I'm just rolling on it. Rocks, doing like 500 HP a pop. And he's like sitting here, and he's like, what? He's like, what is that spell? And I'm like, he's like, bro, you're gonna die. And I'm like, and then he strikes me and hits me once, which I'm assuming was to Perry's surprise. He was expecting me to get wiped out. Yeah. Perry found out that I actually have like a solid set of armor or defense set up, because it only did like maybe a third of my health. And he's like, you're about to beat this boss. And I'm like,
no, beat it. That literally showed how powerful magic was. And like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, bet. So later that day, I'm like, because I'm still grinding, I'm like, I need that stick. And people don't know this about Perry. When I see something in a Souls game and I want it,
gotta go get it.
I will take the time to go get that thing and master it within the day, by the end of the day, because my main build, like my main focus on my build is definitely Dex and Faith and Dex, because I'm like 3-shotting bosses at this point with my build. One of my scythes is plus 13, and the angelic scythe that I have is about to be plus 5, and it's doing phenomenal damage. My faith is level 40, and I am just hitting them with extreme prejudice. So I was really excited to see that, and it really showed that why this game is and how diverse it is. And one of the things that I enjoyed hearing when we was playing the other day, two things I actually heard when we was playing with Rob was, are you guys Elden Ringing? Oh God, you guys are Elden Ringing. And he was like, God, y'all gonna make me get in there, aren't you? And here comes Greg, and he pops in and is like, okay, I have to do this. And then Greg gets on a mission to get something, but then you start hearing Greg's like, man, this map is not giving the justice on how wide this world really is. And when you start looking at how big this world is, this game is huge, but not empty space.
Have you seen that Darth Maul build?
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
Darth Jesus is doing it. He has 2 of the things. He's going to get the last thing right now to have that bill. I was
Yeah,
like, bro, that's actually scary.
it's pretty dope. If I remember, you can use like a regular like saber,
Yeah,
and then with that as well, you get
and you have to get
it's like the
steel on the left hand or something like that.
yeah.
And an incantation.
Yeah, it's pretty dope, and when you get it, it is pretty powerful. But like back to what Perry was saying, like I definitely have to tip my hat to this game because it's one of those things that, like when you hear the marketing and some of the bigger outlets review and say, oh well, you can just pick a direction and go and find something cool. That's literally what it is. Like when you start the game and you hit the touchpad or you hit the menu button, I think for Xbox, to look at the entire map. The map that they show you is not the full map of the game, and that map is already big. But what happens is as you start to travel in one direction or another, the map expands. So the game actually lies to you about how big the map is. And when I tell you that, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to the end of the map as I know it. I fast travel to the top of the map where I had it. Like, oh, yep, this got to be it. I hop on my horse and I continue to travel, and then I'm like, I know I don't have this much map left. I go back into my menu and look, and the map has expanded by like 25%, 30%. And I'm like, wait, and I'm looking at the map. I unpause the game. I'm looking in the real game, and I'm like, well, there's still land as far as I can see. And then I go again, and the map almost doubles in size northward. So, and it did the same thing when I traveled to the south. So it kind of lies to you because not only do you have what the map shows on surface level, there are also like catacombs and castles. So there's verticality to the map in a way that makes it very hard to really get a grasp on how big the map is until you start to venture through it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely have to tip my hat because it's undoubtedly one of the most content-rich games to drop where it did at launch. Now, granted, it's not perfect. I still stand by, and I think last week I would have gave it a 9 out of 10 when we did our 5-hour review with it. Now that I'm about a week in, I would give it about an 8 out of 10. Is this my game of the year? Absolutely not. But it does drive a claim to where it will be the game of the year for a lot of people. And I cannot be mad at that because this is not my type of game, but it is still finding a way to hook me into it, to keep me in, and to have me fighting with 2 other games that I am passionate about right now in Gran Turismo and in Horizon. Like, I am torn between like which one do I play next, and it usually depends on, all right, do I have free time to focus? If I have free time to focus, I'm going Elden Ring. If I'm playing with friends, I'm going Elden Ring. If I'm playing by myself, I might go for Horizon. Or if I know I only have 15 minutes, I'm going to hop into a race on Gran Turismo. So it's a beautiful place to be in. But like all in all, I absolutely think it is a must play. I think that everyone should try it. It is probably the easiest Souls game. Not for the sake that it is actually an easy game. No, God, no. But we talked about that last week. There's no easy mode. But what I will say, what makes this game easy is because anytime you get overwhelmed or frustrated or get to a place that you have no place being, the solution is simple. Go somewhere else.
Run.
And you go somewhere else and you level up and then you pull back up. And I love that this game does not scale. So if you go to a place and you're level 15 and you're struggling through that place at level 15 and you go somewhere else and you come back at level 30, you're going to come back at level 30 and you're going to hit like a level 30 hitting level 15 people. So it's one of those games that kind of allows you to experience that power fantasy. Mm-hmm. While also allowing you to be humbled, because as quick as you find somebody and you're like, oh yeah, I'm big man around here and I'm gonna one shot all these people.
Come around and move off you. Right?
Somebody's gonna come around that bend and mollywop you before you realize it. Exactly. So like all in all, like I love the game. I'm gonna continue to play it. Will this be the first FromSoft Souls game that I beat? Quite possibly. But what I will say is that where I am with the game right now, because it is a very open format, like this is like an open world game in the sense of being open world. They literally drop you into the map. They say, hey, you should follow the thread of gold or whatever the hell it's called, and it'll lead you to the final boss, whatever. Cool. Yeah. But it's not always clear where that thread goes in some sense or another. So I'm at a place where I really don't have much direction right now. So my attention span, one, loves it because it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to pick a direction and go and see what I can loot. But at the other end of my attention span, needing needing something tangible. Yeah. So I'm at a place right now. While I am enjoying it, I'm torn between, am I going to complete this game? Or am I at a point to where I'm going to start to fizzle out within the next week or so?
You just gonna hop on every now and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we'll see. But all in, like, where it was a 9 out of 10 before, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 at this point.
No.
Or 8 cups of coffee.
No, we do 5 out of 5.
We do the coffee.
So we're doing 5?
We're doing 5. Yeah, we're doing 5.
So I'm going to do 3.5 cups of coffee.
Okay.
All right.
So for me...
So 3 in an espresso shot.
Okay, so for me, I would like to say that Greg has lasted longer than I expected when it came to Elden Ring. He's here because, like he said, it's like you can literally do 4 hours of being in this game and feel like you haven't accomplished anything. And that is a big gripe with Greg, especially when he has, the kids and everything in his life. So, like, when he wants to play something, he wants to feel like he's getting stuff done. As for me, I don't have as many kids as Greg in his house at all. And when I have time to play the game, I'm actually able to sit down and dive into it like I want to. When I sit in here, because I have my own office, it's separate from everyone.
Except and Livy, PS5 crashes, right?
Oh God, I don't want to talk about that. You bring it up.
I told Kyle, I was like, I know Nick is screaming at the top of his lungs.
So because we are talking about like scores and such, like I don't know if you're aware, but that is a problem that lots of people have been having.
Yeah.
And it did not have actually anything to do with your crash of the PlayStation. What it actually is there is a autosave issue that the game is having, to where if you go to certain bonfires, it's not autosaving. So it was not an actual PlayStation error, it is actually a game error. I don't know if they've patched it out just yet, but just to remind you, while we love this game, and and I speak for Perry when I say this, and I know he agrees, so I'll speak with confidence, this game is not perfect. It's not. As we said last week, there are some glitches, like the pop-in can be very, very bad. The frame rate can really be really bad at times.
The frame rate can be from software frame rate. It will pull it. So my take on this, for other people, like Greg said, 8 out of 10. For me, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's a 7. Content wise, it's up there at a 9 because I'm starting to trigger some of the NPCs at the round table. I'm starting to dive into some of these side storylines. And when I get my other characters and my other builds, because I know where to go, how to build them correctly, I'll be able to focus more into these storylines and what they do with these people. So like one of the sorcerers that you help to unlock, that teach you one of the most powerful spells, she ends up getting captured. I have no idea how she gets captured. Then one of the knights that was wearing the Raging Wolf armor, he disappears out of nowhere because something triggered within the world. I'm like, what did I do that triggered him to leave? And the Two Fingers Prophet, he ends up leaving the round table because of something. And then I have a rogue NPC that shows up that, he's red. And I'm thinking I should attack him, but it won't allow me. There's a storyline there. So I'm sitting here trying to see, like, what is going on? What am I triggering? So as an aesthetic standpoint on where to go, because when you play any Souls game, there's really no direction on how, like, storyline, like a Horizon to go with. You have to trigger these things. You have to follow through with this. So I can see what this has to give. And I'm still, going throughout this world, figuring out these new areas. And I'm like, okay, this area, I'm almost done with one area, clearing out all the dungeons and the bosses and collecting every spell there. And then I'm going to this area and doing the same thing. But I still only beaten one storyline boss. But altogether, I've beaten at least 10 to 15 of them. You know what I'm saying? And that still tells you a lot of what this game has to offer. So, to me, As for the BLP, I will give it a 4 out of 5. That pop in the game issue of auto saving definitely brought it down. It's for sure. I'm used to From Software frame rates. Bloodborne being the worst one at 30, stuck at 30 frames. This one pops between like 45. Well, it depends where you are, what your settings are. 45 to 60 on the PS5. It wasn't as bad as the issue, but the pop-in rates were very spotty. The hitbox on some of these characters are ridiculous.
A little wonky, yeah. I did see some of that.
But the build aspect is beautiful. And it definitely took a hit on how hard it is to get some of the more fashionable armor that you want for your character. Because me and Greg was rocking the Confessor armor for a while. Like
the first 15, 20 hours.
For a while. And I'm like, I had to research, and it's like, you won't get some of the more stylish stuff until you go into some of these more difficult areas. So I definitely give it a 4 out of 5 cups. I love the game. But one thing From Software did that is very beautiful is they put a new meaning to this world, this word of open world gaming. For sure.
Absolutely.
The standard has been amplified. So that's my take, man. I highly recommend this game. This is definitely going to be one of my games of the year. For sure. Horizon, once I get my time into that, I'm sure it's going to be there too. And Sifu, those are right now my 3 games of the year that can contend for anything. For sure. I know Greg, for Gran Turismo, he was able to play. I know for me, Greg, you're going to play the Ghost. What was it?
Ghostwire, Ghostwire Tokyo.
And I'm going to focus in on getting my Nintendo bag and see what this Kirby's all about. So hopefully, man, we have a lot of more gaming to look into as far as game of the year and more content. So that's my take for at the end for Elden Ring.
So, quick tip for you guys: anyone who has a PS5 who has not gotten into Elden Ring yet, there's something you should know, and this is actually a very, very important tip. One, no one really plays any From Soft game, particularly for the graphics, though the Demon Souls remake is really, really a gorgeous game.
Unmatched, dude.
So, with that being said, there is a way to get a lock 60 frame rate in this game. Or close to a lock frame rate of 60 frames per second. And what that is if you download the PS4 version and you play the PS4 version on your PS5 in frame rate mode, it pares down the graphics from 4K to I think like 1800. I think it like views it as being a PlayStation Pro. And then you can actually get close to a lock 60 frames per second. So if you don't mind taking that graphics hit, definitely play the PS4 version on your PS5 to get the best performance available on the game right now. But be warned, I do not know how the cross save and or transfer goes with Elden Ring. So if you are playing the PS5 version now, you may have to start over. So do your research. And if you're playing the PS4 version and maybe the PS5 version gets a patch at some point to fix it, I am not 100% sure if you'll be able to transfer that save over. But if frame rate is more important to you than anything, definitely PS4 version on the PS5 is the way to go.
For sure. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our show. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. We want to thank our audience for being here. And before we sign out and do our regular routine, Ham, we brought it back here, baby. It's time for recommendations. Ham, what is your one recommendation that you want to give the people on your stay here at Blerd Line Podcast?
This is good, man. I wasn't expecting this. You know what I mean? I was already chilling. I was listening. I was like,
all right. Let
Ring mode.
You want us to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me. Let me think about that. Oh, man.
So I'll go first then. In that case, what I'm going to recommend is and I recommend this often, but I'm going to recommend to play different video games. Right now, Again, I am wanting to get deeper into Gran Turismo, and I am deep into Elden Ring. And these are two games that I expected to try, get a taste of, and move on. And both of them have their hooks in me. So, with that being said, please try different games. Sometimes what you think may not be the game for you could absolutely positively be the game that you need. So, try something new. Cut and simple.
For me, I want to go ahead and there's a few. I'll probably tweet my other ones. Recommendation, because I wanted to keep it something in the realm of gaming and anime. There's a lot of series endings, man. Fire Force ended last week. Today, Dr. Stone ended, and we have the hour-long special of Attack on Titan going live today. My thing is, enjoy this media of anime as they are pumping out great content. Be diverse in what you divulge in, and hold these things that we love so much dear to heart, and keep them at a standard, man. Enjoy those that we have. Tune in, watch them, and understand this for sure. Just because something's new and it looks pretty does not make it better in which it came out 20 years ago.
Absolutely. But to add to that, just because it's new and you have nostalgia for what's old does not mean you have to trash it.
Exactly.
I'm looking at you, Robert Pattinson trashers. I'm looking at you, people that said Bel Air was going to be trash.
I'm looking at you, people who think Hunter x Hunter is better than other things. Understand that when it comes to story developing and things of that nature, it matters. Monster came out in early 2000s and is still probably the most well-written anime that I've ever watched and divulged in. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has been out for a while and is still top 3 of all time.
Preach.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what people are saying as far as Attack on Titan being this, and you, of course, Demon Slayer. But get this, people, and Greg will attest to this, even Ham, and because I do it the same with music. Please do your history, because with these things coming out, it has already been done. And
now, wait. Not Demon Slayer's animation, though.
No, not Demon Slayer. What Demon Slayer animation is?
That's the one thing that they hold.
Holding
that.
Map of done.
Demon Slayer is cutting edge technology in the animation industry.
You guys watch the Fate series. They do it there. It's just on top of the music aspect with the animation of Demon Slayer is top notch. But they've done the same thing with Fate Zero. But indulge in the history of where these things came, and stop dissing those who came before who aren't there anymore. I am tired of hearing about it. I'm sorry this is long, but it needed to be said because I see it in anime and I see it in music. Just because these stories aren't telling new ones does not make it bad. Just because Lil Wayne does not rap anymore does not make him trash anymore. Just because Kendrick doesn't rap or put out albums anymore does not make him mid or trash. Just because Full Metal Alchemist doesn't produce anything anymore doesn't make it less important. Understand that these things hold weight and they are beautiful pieces of content and art that needs to be held at a standard, in which LeBron is in his 19th season, people. He is going to retire soon. He just dropped 57 points yesterday. He's going to retire soon. People like him and Jordan only come once every generation.
Well, okay. First of all, if we're gonna do that, you better put some respect on Kobe.
You already know Kobe was going to be said. Mamba, God rest his soul.
Shooting 60, all right? He went out shooting 60.
That's my recommendation. Don't you ever count Kobe out.
No, never. Kobe has his own mantle with Nip and Chadwick, of course.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so keep your nostalgia in check. Keep your nuances in check as well. Do your history. Appreciate the medias that we have, because this is art. We cherish our art. We do not throw it away because something new and shiny is here.
Absolutely. Hence why I said I have to spend more time with Spider-Man Homecoming and the Batman before I make a final decision, because art evokes thought. And it's not always the spectacle; it's the way that those films make you feel that counts more than anything. Ham, what's going to be your recommendation, man?
My recommendation is going to be in the words,
like
in the same sense as certain people that passed away. Never give up. Keep grinding. Marathon continues. Keep that mama mentality. Like all of that in one, y'all. Just never give up. This is the year. I feel it. I mean, I said it to Greg, Nick. I said it to Liv. I said it to all my boys. Everybody, like, this is the year for everybody. Like, just keep grinding. Stay positive, and shit will work out. Because, I mean, I had a plan for this year, and I've already, like, fast-tracked a lot of this plan this year, like, in the first 3 months of the year. And I'm like, so, like, I was expecting to do this by June, and it's February. I already got it done. Like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? So, like, just stay focused. Don't let anything get too much to your head, man. Always stay humble and just keep grinding. My recommendation.
Absolutely. So, with that, couple things. We do want to apologize. We usually hold these on Saturday. We wanted to give time to most of us to actually see Batman before we did the podcast. So that's why we came in today on a Sunday instead of a Saturday. Special thank you to HamuraiiBlack. Please go follow him on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, on Facebook. Please go follow us as well. Those links are in there. TikTok, wherever. Ham, if you can drop it to the comments, drop your links down below. Let the people know where they can find you. And then as well, know that every Tuesday at approximately 5 p.m. Eastern time, we do co-host over on the Bag Show. That is Blerd Approved Gaming. So you can go catch us there every week. You can also catch us, of course, every Saturday at approximately 9 to 9:30 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday for new episodes of Blerd Lines podcast, excuse me. And then as well, over on our YouTube, if you missed anything for the show, we are consistently dropping clips and segments of the show, and we drop the full episode usually every Friday. If you miss an episode, definitely swing by the YouTube channel, check us out, see what we have to offer, check out the content, lick that like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Perry, do you have anything else before we close out the show here?
Yes, everyone. I'll be going live here within another 30 to 45 minutes as I dive deeper into the DLC with my boy D-Rain and Demigod Sean. We are setting up to do that, and we're going to post a recording here on the Blerd Lines podcast on YouTube page. So go ahead, check that out if you want to tune in. As we sit and talk and allow... we're giving a platform to the homies. You know what I'm saying? The goal is still the same, even though it's put in a different, clothing, in some different clothing. We're still at the aim to put our homies on a platform. So tune into that. Outside from that, man, I have to talk privately for some upcoming things I just saw, but I'm happy and excited for what we come, bro. We'll close this out.
Absolutely. So with that here, I want to give a special shout out to everyone in the chat. You could be anywhere in the world this Sunday morning, but you are here with us, and that means the world to us. So, with that being said, HamuraiiBlack, especially as our special guest today, Liv. Who else stopped by today? We had a couple different people. Try to skim through some of the chat here. Gosh, Ham and Liv have been going crazy in the chat this morning. But I know my boy Gav stopped by. I know my boy James stopped by. And for whoever else I may not be finding in the chat, I do apologize. I just want to let you all know that you deserve the heartiest gang. Thank you so much, guys, and have a wonderful Sunday, because it's not Saturday.
Peace, love, and hair grease, y'all. And we out.
I gotta pee.